new agents, script practice, role playing. Being an individual agent is fantastic as well. I was an individual agent for 15 years. But in this day and age, to get in production quicker, I would encourage you to reach out to a team and see what opportunities present themselves there. And it's okay for you to join a team and grow and then start your own. Don't let things like splits get in the way. Think about what the value is and what, at the end of the day, what you're going to learn and how you're going to be able to progress your career.
Today we have Beth Brown Ciul, team lead for the Cornerstone Home Group, brokered by eXp Realty, powered by Place. Beth has been selling real estate since 2002, and her career sales volume is over $363 million. Last year alone, her volume was over $35 million. Beth has earned the prestigious eXp Icon Award 2 years running and has also earned the Ohio Realtors President's Sales Club and Circle of Excellence numerous times. Welcome to the show, Beth Brown Ciul.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, appreciate it very much. We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, since you first came here,
I feel like when I first started this, you were one of the few that answered the phone when I reached out. I was like, hey, I don't have anything to sell you. Okay, I'll bite. So I appreciate that very much. We originally were supposed to have Beth on a little bit ago, and we're going to dive into this later in the podcast. But there's been some really cool revelations with the business and everything that you were like, hey, we're cultivating some really cool stuff. I'd like to postpone a little bit, and that kind of excited us to talk to you about that.
Yeah, absolutely. At the time, there was a lot going on, and I was trying to investigate some new opportunities, and I thought I just needed to wait until we were ready for that.
It'll be exciting to kind of share that and help promote that with you. But yeah, so leading off, thank you for being on the show. We really want to dive into who you are too, so that, the viewers and the listeners that you have get some insight into you, not just through your sphere, but through who they're going to be pushing it through. So, you're a prominent real estate agent. What'd you do before real estate?
So I had my graduate degree in litigation management. So I worked for a law firm for a while, and then really found my place in IT, recruiting, and HR.
Nice.
And so I did that for several years with a large IT consulting firm here in Cincinnati, and had always had an interest in real estate. So while I was on maternity leave, I got my real estate license.
That's awesome. Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Talk about doubling down on being a parent, raising a child, and like, let's just go get our real estate license too.
Why not?
That sounds super easy.
Yeah. I always like to be in a stressful situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No kidding. So how long have you been in real estate?
Got my license in October of 2002.
Wow.
So I can't believe I'm coming up on 23 years now. So
my goodness.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a ride.
I was gonna say, you've seen some ups and downs.
Seen some definite ups and downs and changes in the industry, and some good ones and some scary ones, and
Sure.
It's ever changing.
Yeah, absolutely. What was you went through real estate school as you were on maternity leave. Was that an immediate jump? Was it like, hey, we're gonna wait a little bit, how'd that work out?
It was a little bit because I did the classes on the weekends, so it took me a little bit longer. And then that fear factor of going from a paying job to feet first. But I found throughout my career, I can't do two things. I have to go all in. I can't have a plan B.
Right.
Anybody that has a plan B usually ends up with plan B.
Yeah.
Right.
And so doubled down and had some amazing mentors starting out. I feel like I've been so incredibly fortunate to have some of the best mentors and colleagues that have gotten me to where I am today. And without them, I wouldn't have been able to get here.
Yeah. It's great support too. I feel like there's a great support system in the real estate community if you're willing to look and be vulnerable to that. Some people are very prideful, but it's not an easy industry to be successful in,
It's not. And it's, being willing to be open to new ideas, be open to asking questions. Early on, I learned from a great mentor to quit looking at someone who's more successful than you and being like jealous or, envious of that, and just go up to them and ask them, what's making you successful?
Right.
Right.
You are the people you hang around with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like with the training that I've had throughout 23 years, I've just been so fortunate to have those people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2018, I had 2 individuals come into my life that really changed everything I thought I knew about real estate. Just absolutely made me realize that there is no ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Your only ceiling is you. And I spent almost 5 years with them, having them train me and guide me and show me what to do. And so that prepared me to go start my own team.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You've had a team for as long as I've known you. And you've made some changes recently. When did you jump into EXP?
April of 2002.
Okay.
I went
Or 22?
I'm sorry, it's 22. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah.
Been
April
24 years.
Yeah. April of 2022.
Okay. So with that, I know we really want to touch base on what's going on with what's new with you. On top of everybody talks about EXP and then the recruitment tools and stuff like that. But you're kind of innovating and leading the way in the Cincinnati, the Southern Ohio market, with 1 or 2 other people from who you spoke of, but you're really kind of diving into what could be for a lot of agents in the market. And this is Place, right?
Right.
So the company name is called Place.
Place.
Okay. Do you want to give us kind of some insight into what that is real quick?
Absolutely. So back in 2022, a very good friend of mine out of Texas called me and told me he had joined this partnership with Place and was telling me all about it, super excited about it, and invited me out to Build How, which was Place's national conference. And Place was started by 2 individuals, Ben Kinney and Chris Suarez, who are very well-known agents that at certain point in their career were talking to each other and realized that partnership is powerful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they were each individually successful, they could be more successful together.
Mm-hmm.
And as they started Place and as they started their partnership, they looked out to how they can help other teams grow and be successful and be profitable. One of the big challenges is in real estate is, money goes out, money comes in. We don't really look at the profitability piece of it. So they started Place. I'm still with EXP.
Yeah.
They are a broker-agnostic company. And what they really help focus on is helping operators like myself have a little more time, leverage. The biggest thing that came from me is the benefits surrounding it, the leadership that I have being taught from them, the agent training. They have agent launch for new and experienced agents, which is the first 90 days on the team. They have wealth building. The biggest thing we have now is health insurance, life insurance, 401k, revenue share, the ability to build wealth through investments through the company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, each one of these comes with production levels, but the levels are so obtainable with the resources that we have. We have a robust CRM. I used Brivity prior to Place. Place owns Brivity. And so that has really expanded. Now we have our own Brivity coach who helps us with lead generation. We have additional technology. Place owns Land Voice. So not only did it bring some incredibly talented experts in the field, but it has also brought me design and marketing, retirement planning. You start getting to my age and you start looking like, how long can I continue doing what I'm doing and maintain a team? Where's my out plan?
Right.
And so they have experts that will sit down with you and say, what does your out plan look like? And what do you want it to be?
Mhm.
Do you want it to, just turn the team over? Do you want to stay involved? And they help strategize and plan that completely out for you,
Wow.
which is really cool. We have legal and HR. So that helps with team agreements, things like that.
Mhm.
But really for the agents, it's just the robust resources.
Yeah.
They get on the phone with coaching. We have a call with Chris Suarez every Friday that every member of Place is a part of. And you're learning from two of the best in the country.
Mhm.
And it's really just expanded. It helps with P&Ls. Agents are terrible with P&Ls. After a couple months with Place, I can tell you to the percentage point of where I'm at in marketing and profit and sales and things that I didn't track before. I was really bad at tracking volumes, and
Yeah.
it didn't matter to me. But with them, it's really made me laser focused, and it's just an opportunity for not only agents that may be struggling in the market or need some extra hand holding or training, but also operators out there that are in the same position that I am. What am I going to do next? We have a recruiting team that helps us with recruiting. So it just really has made so many changes in how I look at things. I interviewed a lot of teams with Place prior to joining. It was a little scary.
Mhm.
It is a true partnership. So you take that into account, that you really are partnering. They care as much about what your expenses are as you do, and they help you refine what works and what doesn't. One of the things that was really interesting is prior to Place, I had invested in a lead generation source that was just not working,
Mhm.
and was trying to remove myself from that situation. And upon joining Place, they're like, oh yes, none of our teams have had success with this lead generation source. And within a matter of, a month, I was out of the contract.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, it's good on that side. But the flip side of that, the really cool thing about that is, the top 20% of the teams in the country, that are partnered with Place know what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
Right.
So when I'm doing my weekly calls, or if I have questions, they have feedback from other agents and teams that are way bigger than I am,
Mhm. That's a huge resource
that
to tap into.
Yeah.
I can tap into to help my profitability and my choices at my size.
Sure. When I'm just talking to you pre-recording, it just makes so much sense from a real estate agent's perspective of just hearing it out, because not all agents treat their business like a business, and this is kind of streamlining the way to say, like, hey, instead of trying to figure it out, let's just show you how to take your business and truly make it a business.
Mhm.
We're all entrepreneurs, but like, you could see some people are transactional types of agents, and they're transaction to transaction, whereas those top tier are like, how do we figure out how to look at this from a 30,000 foot view? And I think that opens that up right away.
Oh, 100%. I mean, my mindset and my view have done a 180.
Yeah.
I understand now better on hiring
Mhm.
the right fit,
Yeah.
looking for the right people. They have these fantastic challenges for agents. They have a monthly call night. They have weekly call nights where everybody in the Place organization comes together and the teams call. They have morning power-ups. So every morning a team can, they have a power-up, and it's a slide deck of educational, up-to-date information.
Mhm.
Not only did EXP do a fantastic job with all of the changes going on in the market, but Place also was already ahead of it as well. And because they're broker agnostic and they have brokerages from all over, they had a lot of information as to what people were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, other parts of the country were already using buyer agreements. So they had that knowledge as well. Scripts on how to handle things. I mean, there is really nothing that an agent can't find with their leverage.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and as we were talking earlier too, I think it's really cool that that's not just a resource for you as the team leader. This is for all of your agents.
Oh, this is all of our agents. Going through launch, they have their own launch coach. The agents have their own launch coach. We have a Brevity coach dedicated to our team. So if you're trying to learn the CRM, we have a dedicated person.
Wow.
And let's face it, the CRMs are great, but they're only as great as the usage they get.
Right.
Yeah.
And having had Brevity 18 months before Place, and now having Place with the coach, I've been mind blown on the difference in how to grab leads out of that database.
Right.
Even just using some of the simple systems Brevity has, if you don't know what the power is of them or how to use them, it's garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Right.
And so they've helped us go through, and they do a database report card every month. So we know exactly where we're standing on our usage of the system.
Wow.
That's incredible. To me, it almost seems like it's just taking all of the ancillary things that, as a real estate agent, that you have to put up with, and taking all of that away and just allowing you to focus on being a realtor and helping people buy and sell and just do your job.
Absolutely. I mean, especially the agent training. I tend to, and Patrick, you've known this from me in the past. I taught at a local real estate school for several years and have a passion for teaching new agents. But new agents take a lot of time. And so trying to be in production and making sure they have the value and the guidance they need, it's a tough balance. But with Place, they come on board and Place does their training. Obviously, I do the local, how to write your contract, things like that. But the daily activities that an agent should be doing in this market to be successful, Place is taken care of. And they're experts at it.
Yeah.
Chris and Ben, two of the biggest teams in the country. They're wildly successful. Why wouldn't we employ their systems and training to help our agents?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing they're really big on is building a team within a team. So they have ways to even bring on other teams with equal production into the system. They have the ability to, as my agents grow, if they hit certain benchmarks, then they get a showing assistant. Then they get an admin. Then they, so throughout their production, the more production they do, the more services they receive. I mean, it's just, one of the agents on my team could end up being a managing partner along with me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Given, production. So it's really interesting how they know when to bring on people, when an agent hits those pain points.
Right.
And instead of reading and going to conferences, I have my own team telling me, now you need to do this.
Right.
Now we can add this.
Yeah.
So
Not trying to figure all that out on your own.
yeah, and it's amazing to dig down into the expenses and the profitability, and they know, at least their standard of where your profitability needs to be, how to tweak things. They've made me mindful of when to buy a copier. I think about that now. Should I do it this month or next month?
Right.
Yeah.
Where's my profitability? It's something that's constantly now at the forefront of my mind.
Man, what a good tool. And I remember, like, since Real Producers is always like, we're for all brokerages, we're for all real estate agents. That was the first question I asked you, was like, is this only for EXP agents? And no, it's not, and that's why, I think there's so much to be had about people hearing you out, because, you might have a great team at Coldwell Banker, And maybe some of those systems aren't necessarily even in place, but when they are, can you envision, how much faster you can get to your next goal? Like, I just think, from that coaching standpoint, nobody's ever overcoached. Like there's nobody out there who can't stand to hear Ben or Chris or somebody, speak something different to him, like.
Right. And a lot of times things that over the years I've learned, a lot of the things that I will tell my agents, it's just like when a parent's talking to a child. You
Right.
hear it from the parent, whatever.
Leave me
Right.
alone.
Whatever. I don't,
I'm going back to school, Mom.
You hear it from a coach or another trusted source,
Yeah.
Mhm.
then it resonates with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really kind of where this really helps the agent. It's very agent focused.
Mhm.
And the really cool thing, you talk about efficiencies and processes and systems. Every key person in our team has a launch that they have to go through. I'm in operator's launch. I have homework.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's homework I don't want to do, things that you really have to think about. Where are your top leads coming from?
Mhm.
What do you need? Which projections? Amy, my ops director, she is in basically ops launch. She has to go in and she has homework, figuring out the auto plans, figuring out how to set up things in the database correctly, making sure our systems and processes are efficient so that we can be right on top of things.
Yeah.
And then our agents have launch. So it's just training after training after training, but it's not invasive. It's not always easy, but it has already made me such a better leader.
Mhm.
We talk a lot about leadership, more focused on development of the agent.
Yeah.
It's just, there's another place team here in Cincinnati. And one of the things she said to me that really resonated was, for her, she's been in about 18 months, I believe. It's been life-changing.
Mhm.
And, I follow a lot of other systems and things like that. And that's what you want. You want something life-changing. I want to be able to go on vacation whenever I want.
Sure.
Right.
I want to be able to retire
Mhm.
whenever I want to.
Well, and I think everybody deserves, or everybody should feel like they need a sense of accountability, but almost without having to go to the 9 to 5 to get that accountability. Like you're not at a normal job, you're still flexible, but you still have that little birdie in your ear saying, yeah, this is what you got to be working on, and it's maybe not from that corporate, lifestyle that some are used to, but
Right.
it's good to have that.
And things that place is not. They're
Yeah.
not a brokerage.
Right.
They're not my boss.
Right.
I make my decisions. I extremely like their input right now because I'm learning.
Mhm.
They're not those things. They're a
Right.
true partnership.
Mhm.
If I win, they win.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
It seems like it's really changed, a lot for you in terms of, it's really opened some doors. I'm curious kind of how maybe it's changed, let's say like a 5-year vision or where
That's
you see.
exactly what I was
was it-
going to
yeah,
ask.
so
I'm
like, and you don't have to go into how it's changed necessarily if you want, but what is your 5-year vision now?
it's really funny because this is one of the reasons that place attracted me. And my friend Michael in Texas has been after me for 2 years. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And kind of like that parent-child thing.
Sure.
And finally, really just to appease him, sorry, Michael, I started talking to them.
Yeah.
And the more I talked to them, the more I thought about what my team looked like, where my team was at, and where I was, knowing that there's a little bit of difference in ages with my husband and I. I know at some point he would like to retire and travel.
Mhm.
I would too. My family, my daughter is finishing up she graduated mechanical engineering in May and will be graduating with her MBA this May.
Wow.
Who knows where she's going to end up. And so I want to be able to have some place close to where she is and be able to go do those things
Mhm.
and the trajectory that I was on, I was going to be working until I was 85 years old, because what else do you do?
Right.
And so my vision in the next 5 years is to have a sales manager that's running the sales team, and me doing, the vision and the planning and vacationing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And because Patrick has on an Ohio State shirt,
Yeah.
going to every Alabama
You
football
can't
game.
say you don't love them. You can't say it. I
do
remember your roots, Beth.
I do. I root for
remember
both.
your roots.
I do root for both.
Oh, man. I thought you'd be happy with this shirt, to be quite honest. I was like,
I am.
I even said something before. I'm like, oh, Beth's a big Ohio State fan, too. I know you're a big Alabama fan, but
Yeah,
funny.
I love the Buckeyes, absolutely, but Alabama paid for school, so.
yeah, I get it. I get it.
Shut up.
Amen. Well, that's really interesting, and I think that's super innovative, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for this area since it's new. And I asked you pre-recording, what's the next step, and it's like, well, I'm worried about myself right now. I'm worried about my team and my growth, and when that 5-year mark comes, it'll be interesting to see how many people you've been able to have a conversation with outside of your direct team who are now working with Place, because I think it's something that's really, really empowering and really powerful for everyone.
It is. In my mind, Place is a game changer for teams my size.
Yeah.
It really gives us, leverage that we need.
Yeah.
And that this industry needs. And so I think down the road, we will see more of Place and more teams, joining partnership with them. They are pre-IPO. They're backed by Goldman Sachs.
That's great.
And so, their valuations and things are very strong. And I think as you see more and more Place teams come on board, you're going to see even more leverage that they can give us.
Right.
And just teams looking like a business.
Right.
That's really what it's all about, is running the team as a company. A lot of people will say, oh, you're a real estate agent. Well, some of the teams my size and guys, teams that are so much bigger than mine, those are businesses.
Yeah.
Those are bigger than some small businesses. And, it's really important to understand that and to be able to leverage the things that are out there for those teams to continue to grow and just make it more of a looking at real estate as a business and operating it as such.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm sure your head's been in the sand since you got this going. I was like, you're like, hey, can we push this back? I was like, I'm intrigued to see why. So that's really cool.
Lots was happening.
It's cool that you're able to come above the surface now and start to really, talk about it. And I think it'll naturally be a recruitment tool, not for your business, but for other people's healthy businesses.
Not only that, for sellers and buyers.
Yeah.
They have an experience now that's not just on a local small team level. We have robust materials for selling and for the buyers. Beautiful materials to help us present well and compete against other agents.
Sure.
They just helped me land a really big deal locally that I probably wouldn't have gotten without Place.
That's powerful. Well, we would love to ask some advice. Before we do, I didn't give you a heads up on this, but we always like to thank Back to Back Ministries for letting us use their studio
Absolutely,
here.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. We're super grateful. So I give them just a quick shout out here, and then we're gonna ask you for some advice. So
Okay.
yeah, Back to Back Ministries is a global nonprofit orphan care organization with their sights set on providing care for today and hope for every tomorrow. From Cincinnati, Ohio to Hyderabad, India, staff teams around the world are stepping into hard stories and choosing to stay. To learn more about the work Back to Back does, how you can get involved, and why a global team won't stop until every child is known and loved, visit backtoback.org today. So thank you.
We definitely appreciate them allowing us to sit here and do this.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
fun.
place.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. With that said, so we always like to ask advice for new agents and for buyers and sellers. So any of the above or all of the above, you can take it away.
For buyers and sellers right now, on both sides, don't listen to the noise. There's a lot of media coverage. There's a lot of misinformation. Don't go to Facebook for what the new world looks like, because really at the end of the day, though some forms have changed and some ways we present things have changed, the business is still going to continue
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, run as it has in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
For buyers, understand agents are valuable to you.
Mm-hmm.
It is so valuable and so important, especially coming from a legal background. Though I'm not an attorney, I do have a graduate degree in litigation management. There's so many parts of the contract, things that can go wrong, that a buyer's agent can really guide you through. And for sellers, your agent knows how to market your home.
Right.
They know how to present it the best. Be open to interviewing a couple different agents, making sure you dig into what is the correct and factual information. I think that's the biggest thing that's scaring not only buyers and sellers, but agents right now.
Right.
Yeah.
How does this work? There's so many rumors flying around. Just getting really granular and understanding what you need to do as an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Get engaged with your broker. Sit down with them if you don't understand the forms.
Right.
Scripts. There are a ton of scripts out there right now on how to address objections from both buyers and sellers. And I know people don't like scripts, and they don't like to practice them. But I went through a program a few months ago, and I had to write a script out every day for 76 days, chant it and role play it.
Wow.
I will never tell anybody that those aren't important anymore, because now I can have these conversations. They're in my words.
Right.
They're getting the point across.
Yeah.
But it makes me so much more comfortable. So buyers and sellers, don't listen to the noise. And for new agents, script practice, role playing. Being an individual agent is fantastic as well. I was an individual agent for 15 years. But in this day and age, to get in production quicker, I would encourage you to reach out to a team and see what opportunities present themselves there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for you to join a team and grow and then start your own. Don't let things like splits get in the way. Think about what the value is, and what, at the end of the day, what you're going to learn and how you're going to be able to progress your career.
For sure.
You got anything else?
Man, my wheels are just turning on place. We're
I
going
know.
to talk some more off camera.
This will be really interesting to see what happens in the next year or so, just in this market. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for growth. And I think the fact that it's marketing as not replacing your brokerage, it's not taking over your business, it's not your new boss, it's powering you to be a better you with somebody who can support you.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And it's been so far a really great ride.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's allowing me, quite honestly, I feel like I'm going to have more time with my family. My family's so important to me.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me or anybody's friends with me on Facebook has watched Madison literally grow up.
Yeah. I feel like she's my sister.
Believe me, she hates that. I'm the most embarrassing mom ever.
Oh,
but
great.
that's important. She's my only one.
Yeah.
And spending time with Ron, this is going to give me more time to do that.
Yeah.
And give me more time to go to Alabama football games.
Good for you.
Nice.
I'll be up in Columbus watching the next national champs play.
Hopefully if it's not Alabama, I hope it's them.
That's true. I'll give you that. Well, thank you, Beth, for being a part of this, and thanks for sharing your news with us on, the potential for not just your business, but for anybody's business to grow and be better. And we know that it's not for everybody, but that's okay. I think the people that want to run their business as a business are going to be receptive to at least hearing and learning about it.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that you can do, or any of us can do.
Right.
So,
It's something that's great that's out there. It isn't for everybody.
yeah.
And they don't take everybody.
That's even better.
So
But it's nice that it's selective too, because now you're building information that is for the best, but it's by the best.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm super excited to see what happens with this.
Well, I really appreciate you guys for, having me on. I always love working with you, Patrick, and it's been great working with you. So Daniel,
as well.
and so I just appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your support as well. And obviously we've had you on some of I think you've been on a lot of our panels, as being an industry expert, just helping real estate agents in the city, and I've loved that about you, being able to give back, not just, you're not just concerned about your recruitment and your own business, but you want to help everybody. And even having Danny Barron talk about you, she's like, I look up to her still. And I'm like, well, that's probably part of the reason why you're a big dog now, buddy. So, you get a good teacher, good things happen. So
that's right.
Thank you for everything that you do for our industry.
Appreciate it.
That's super, super wonderful.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And glad to help support you and everything like that. So,
again, our team appreciates it and I appreciate it.
You're awesome. Well, thank you again for being a part of our podcast, and continued success. We'll have a follow-up in a year on how things are going.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Love it.
Great.
Love it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Cincinnati Real Producers Podcast, powered by Nextdoor Photos. We do this every week, so be sure to subscribe so you can follow along. If you liked our conversation, leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.